Okay, let's see here. About to start a new recording up. So, I mean, that one block thing that'll help you a lot. All right, so now let's talk about a couple other things that we can see. And you just, what do they mean? What do these colors mean everywhere? So we got gross volume, total volume. We got net volume. That's to subtract all the bids from all the offers. And we turned off the numbers to make it a little cleaner to see. We got our clusters down. We covered that in the last video. Okay, so to look at that volume and see how it's declining, and then rapidly going up. All right, now the next thing I'm going to look for, let's see here. All right, now this is a me thing. This isn't necessarily everybody, okay? But when the stars pop up right there, see those little stars, those little green stars? I have a red star, I may have a green star. That means momentum. Okay, that means like the market's really accelerating with the way that the orders are going. And without trying to make it confusing, it just means there's a lot of momentum in that up bar. And you'll notice that when those bars happen, there's usually a tell. So the market pulled back and then pop. Okay? So if there's momentum, meaning the market should continue in that direction, and I'm in a long trade, what could I do with my trailing stop? What should work pretty well? Who can tell me what would be a good idea to do with your stop? Like we talked about using predictor levels and MVP levels. There you go. Mike gets the golden star. That's exactly it. You can move your stop up. Now, where do I use? What's my rule of thumb that I use on stops? Where do I usually put it? If I put it on anything, where do I usually put it? Like how many ticks above or below? 3 ticks above or below, right? So I get let's say I took a buy here. I'm just trying to give you an example of how you could tighten your stops with this. I could put my stop 3 ticks below this bar. That will be much tighter than where the predictor MVP is, okay? And then I get another one. I give it a stop 3 ticks below. And we can even see like what was the low of this bar. By the way, I'm just clicking on my middle mouse button right there. The low was 46.43. The low of this contract was 46.41. So by a tick, I'm still in. Okay. And this one happens. I can move it up again. And this one happens. I can move it up again. And it happens here. It explode. I can move it up again. Happens here. I can move it up again. So now if the MVP predictor go past that, of course I could use those with it. But this allows me to tighten it even more. And then what happens? I get a block order at a deviation level. What am I probably going to do? As soon as I see that purple block pop up, what am I going to do? Just like we talked about in the last video, we're probably going to take profit. Okay? But protect your profits, protect your money, not because you're up. Okay, this has, again, nothing to do with what I see on my P&L. Your P&L will never help you trade better. It will help you trade worse because it will make it emotional. What do I see on my chart that helps me? And may it knock me out? Yep, it might just knock me out. I'm okay with that. I protected my income. And maybe this went 4 ticks down instead of, and then flew on up and I lost out on some profit. That's okay. I still have some money. I walked away and I did what the chart told me to do. The chart said it was going to continue. I went with it. So could you add a contract at a star? I don't necessarily take signals directly off of order prints, but you could. Okay. But I want you to notice here, like let's say you added a contract at this star. Okay. Then you got out and at best broke even, depending upon what we know where the block ended. We don't, or the we know where the cluster ended, but we don't know like where it started. Like when it starts, that's usually when I'm like, okay, take profit. Because I mean, the cool thing is, like I said, it appears a lot. But just be aware that, I mean, this is saying continued momentum, not necessarily trade. I like to trade based off systems of IZSS and Cs. This helps me read my charts on tightening my stops, taking profits, and confirming trades off of the other contracts. I'm not talking about blocks at all. I'm talking about momentum. If I see a cluster bar, I'm going to take profits on at least part of my position and definitely tighten my stop at the close of the bar. And I may take all of them, especially if I'm at a level. When you get the cluster at a level, that's really, I mean, that's a big, big key. So, um, and again, now saying when you get the cluster at a level, now, and I want you to remember this because somebody's going to misquote me, okay? A cluster with the bar closing in the opposite direction of the trend. Okay? This is a down close cluster. Over here, the one I talked about earlier, an up close cluster after a downtrend. Okay, so please understand when I'm talking about taking profits at levels with clusters, it closed in the opposite direction with a lot of volume, and literally we had double acceleration and we had absorption and we had a cluster all at a deviation level on a bar that opposed the previous trend. Do you see the combination there? Whereas if we go back and let's say we see, this is a good question by Caleb. What about like all these clusters at the deviation levels? Well, what direction did they close in? Did they close with the trend or against the bar closed against the trend or with the trend? I know it's an obvious question, but I'm asking you to answer. Anybody can answer. We have a cluster bar. The market's obviously moving up. It closed with the trend. So is that necessarily going to be something where I'm going to want to take profit? Or would that maybe be a wiser point to tighten stops? Yes, I would wait until the bar closes, and then I would tighten my stop if, because I have to see what direction the bar is going to close, right? So I know it's going to happen whenever because the purple will pop up. So I know it's going to happen. Okay, the big question is it going to close up or down? If it closes down, I went out. Okay, closes up, hey, that's cool. And I got, again, double acceleration. The lightning bolts are acceleration. Okay. And I got right there, I have momentum, I have acceleration, I got double acceleration and momentum. I get another cluster, double acceleration, then I get another momentum. I mean, the cool thing about this, I'm going to keep really tight stops on my trades. Okay, versus just hopping out. Again, I'm not says my system for entry. I'm still using IZSS. I'm using this to help me protect my money. Because one of the most annoying things in trading, I mean, who would have me is you're in a trade, you're up a whole bunch of money, it pulls back, and there goes all your profit. Is that annoying to anybody? Has that cost you a lot of money? Like I'm up $300 and now I'm down 20. Okay? That's what order prince is about, helping you avoid. Okay? It's helping you confirm your entries Yeah, I mean, I got like yes, 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 so annoying, yes, yes, and the answers in the room right now. So yeah, cluster going in the direction of the trend, I have found enforces it. If I'm wrong, I've tightened my stop anyway, and I'm out of the trade, right? So I still use MVP arrows for trail stop because I may not get a cluster. I may not get a reason. Okay. So I need to protect my money, but I need another way to tighten it even tighter. And this is how I do it. Diagnostic bars are very smooth. IZSS gives you a little bit more wiggle room, which gives you more trades. Okay. But that smoothness allows me to have nice tight stops. The wiggle room gives me more signals. So that's why I like the continuum bars for my trading normally on IZSS, but I like the diagnostic bars on the clusters for being able to tell, like, either confirm a trade I get, like an apex entry, or a trade catcher entry, or a VAD entry, even a C's entry. Um, and I like them to tell me to time my stops or to take my profits. So yeah, it's gonna happen after. So like if you took this one and you made this just a rule to just trade off this, then you would have got out like 3 ticks below this, and that would have been a loss. So that's why I'm like, it doesn't necessarily mean to add. I mean, you could, just don't go crazy. So obviously, the later and later and later you get them, eventually the thing's gonna run out. I'm tightening stops when I see a cluster closing in my direction. Okay. I am tightening stops when I see momentum. Okay, I mean when I say tighten, that means 3 ticks below the low of the bar on a buy if I'm long, or 3 ticks above the high of the bar on it if I'm short. Okay, so that momentum star and clusters closing in the direction of my trade can help me tighten my stops. Clusters are probably almost always going to have a wick because they're going to be higher volume bars. Okay, because remember that means there was more volume than the last several bars. So that means there was more of a battle inside that bar. Should we be surprised that at a 1 deviation level, the volume went way up, that there was a battle? No, I mean, we should expect a battle at a deviation level. Okay, so hey, I know a battle's coming. Do I just want to hop out? Or maybe I get a new entry on IZSS because, the wicks, right, could actually end up being since we have that 31260, could actually end up being an entry. Do I want to take that? Is that wise? Well, what do the clusters tell me? The clusters tell me, hey, the market is going in my direction. The momentum's in my direction. The acceleration's in my direction. Awesome. Okay, I'll type my stops. So, Chris, notice I'm not looking at this on IZSS. I'm looking at this on diagnostic bars. Okay? I'm using iZone Sharpshooter as my entry, my stop, my trailing stop, and I'll go even tighter when my order print charts tells me to. And it's not like you have to have a billion of them. I mean, you can go in here. You should have at least 2 screens when you're trading. I recommend people have 4. You get these little things that basically just holds up to, and then you have on top. So that way you can put, web on one, like maybe Nadex or, whatever else, trading room on one, then you can add, some charts out. Like that's four screens is really an ideal number. So on this computer, I have 8 currently hooked up. So, and 2 of them, like I barely ever even look at. I just have them up for, like news flying and things like that. So I'm using these 2 charts together. I'm trading the iZone system or the VAD system or the Apex system. Okay. But I'm using clusters to confirm my entries to help me tighten and protect my profits even tighter than this. So I'll go down here And let's say I got, cluster right here, okay? And let's say I haven't got any kind of other, thing in the next bar, but the predictor moves down. Well, I can move down further. So whichever one is tighter, and that will help you protect your profits. Again, you will sometimes get knocked out, and the market will continue on, and you may miss out. That's okay. You don't need to catch every fish in the sea, but you definitely don't want to always be giving back your profits by always putting on trailing stops. Trailing stops are not meant to be your total profit scenario. They're meant to give you an objective way to help protect your capital. But markets don't always fly in big trends, right? So we need another way to add on to help tighten our stops. So if you go to indicators and you've updated your toolkit, you'll see under the order prints. And again, I go in here and I turn off four, five, six, 18, 19, like 21, and I turn off 23. Some people leave 23 on. Like that's sort of how Rick does it intra-bar. It's a more advanced method. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to take a lot of things like what Rick does and Lori does, and John does, and I do, and trying to make it very fast, easy, objective for you versus trying to read everything to such a point that you have analysis paralysis. So, but you'll have to find institutional order prints, and then you have to go to 3.1 right there. Okay. So there's a couple lessons on how to trail. Now, one of Lori's favorite things. Okay. Let's see here. I'll cover that in the next video. Okay, so hold on one second. I'm just trying to break these up so they're not all like 3 hours long. Second, we'll make sure that recording is stopped and I'll start another one.